Yes, well, our culture and social affairs editor, Inaya Folarin Iman, joins us now to discuss this further. Inaya, tell us more, because these cases, when they were revealed, they'd shocked so many people. But actually, what they're going to hear today is that it's actually quite common for failings like this to happen.
Yeah, so following the tragic murder of Arthur Labinjo Hughes, who was 6 years old in Solihull, and also Star Hobson, who was 16-month-old in Bradford, an independent review into children's services in England was launched, and it was published in May 2022 of this year. And there were several quite interesting recommendations. It essentially focused on the fact that there seemed to be several missed opportunities and the fact that children's services failed to spot the signs. So there were quite similar situations in the case that in both instances, several of the extended family had intervened and reported on several different occasions. So, for example, in the case of Star, the great-grandmother had actually reported it. And interestingly, the mother had accused the great-grandmother of a malicious complaint, saying that it was potentially homophobic because it was involving a same-sex relationship. On top of that, in the case of Arthur Labinjo Hughes, the school had made a complaint on 3 occasions, referring him to mental health services and the extended family. And the committee hearing, as well as the report, is essentially investigating why these failings were essentially happened. So one of the recommendations that was essential to the review is this sense that there is a fragmentation within the system. So what you were both previously mentioning, in the sense that there's not enough communication across multiple agencies. So whether that's the social services, the police, the school, there is not a connection being made when many of these instances are being reported. And when we just talked about in relation to grooming gangs, it is interesting. That was actually mentioned in the committee hearing. Someone had asked the chair, Annie Hobson, which was, why is it that, for example, in the case of grooming gangs, it does seem that, for example, political correctness could be in the way of when actually agencies are meant to be taking these issues seriously. So in this similar instances, in the case of Star as well. So there are many serious questions, but this is not the first time that we've had things like this. In the case of Baby P, there was discussions about manipulative parents, for example, agencies not challenging parents enough. So it does seem that even though when these horrendous cases are happening, many of the responses are talking about missed opportunities, but is it really going to cause a fundamental change?